Hi, freaks and ghouls, slashers and psychopaths, scaredy cats and scaredy dogs. I'm your horror host with the motherfucking most, the Headless Glen, and welcome to the Scaling Cemetery, where we dig up the stats of horrific individuals and bury the misconceptions. The author's statement. A source of great information and great pain within the power scaling community. Do you listen to the author's statement because they are the author and that's what they meant, or do you ignore it because it's not in the official text? Well, that's for y'all to decide today because this one's a doozy. Getting straight into it, on page 252 of Taking Shape 2, The Lost Halloween Sequels, we come across an excerpt from a March 2004 Australian version of Empire, where John Carpenter, the original creator of Michael Myers, has this to say when asked how the Shape would fare against Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees in a battle royale.
He'd kick their asses. Well, the original Michael, my Michael, would. The modern Michael wouldn't stand a chance.
For context on the modern Michael Mr. Carpenter is referring to, Mustafa Akkad, who was seemingly in control of the character after the original film and its sequel, had this to say about his Michael. At the 2003 event, Halloween Returns to Haddonfield 25th Anniversary Convention, which was transcribed on page 251 of Taking Shape. Michael Myers, we always have a real person. He's not going through walls or killing at random. He's not someone who fell from the sky. He's a real person, so we have to match him with somebody real. That's right. Allegedly, modern Michael isn't even supposed to be wall level, as the power scaling community puts it. But what would Carpenter be referring to as his Michael? While many would argue Halloween 1 and 2 being his vision, I would argue that strictly Halloween 1978 was what the term original Michael would be referring to, as Halloween 2 added character elements such as Laurie being Michael's sister, which Carpenter did
purely as a function of having decided to become involved in a sequel to the movie where I didn't think there was really much of a story left.
That was stated in 2014. And he has even stated Halloween 2 was
an abomination and horrible movie
in a 1984 interview with Cinema Showcase. So I feel it is clear he was only referring to the first movie when it comes to who his Michael would be. While I'm not going to go over his actual feats, as they aren't really the best visually, and honestly, this statement is the best this version of Michael has going for him, I will go over some of the potential abilities and statements. Now, it is debatable if this version of Michael is actually human, as it is stated a tranquilizer would seemingly work on him, though it is never shown, and the fact that he gets hungry and eats a dog, so he still has that type of function. Other than that, though, we seemingly get quite a different picture in regards to what original Michael is. Dr. Samuel Loomis treats Michael as not a man, but pure evil, stating this numerous times. He is also stated and shown to be unable to die. He was stabbed in the neck, in the eye, in the torso, shot repeatedly, took a long fall, and was seemingly fine afterwards. Whether this is because he is tied to evil itself or not is dubious, but he does have some type of implied immortality. He also potentially has the ability to teleport, or he's just really fast, both being arguably plausible. Another interesting narrative element is the idea of fate being a physical aspect in the world, like earth, air, fire, and water, an immovable force, something that will stand when man passes away. something that never changes. Whether this is in reference to Myers in some way is dubious and unknown, but given how weirdly out of place this talk would be if it wasn't referring to some plot element, I think it likely does have something to do with the killer and the events that transpire. Besides, the transcription of an immovable force that never changes seems to fit Michael quite well. Whether he is the embodiment of fate itself is likely up for debate and doesn't have a lot of standing within the film. Michael not being human does have a lot to stand on. Now, back to the actual statement. Which versions of Freddy and Jason would this apply to? Given it was made in 2004, it would likely refer to all versions of Jason and Freddy who appeared before that. Of course, this would include Freddy vs. Jason's version of the characters, as that is directly what the question is alluded to, but also would include versions of the characters like Uber Jason, who appeared in 2001, as well as Dream World Freddy and potentially even New Nightmare Freddy, who appeared in 1994. Uber Jason has some calculations that would put his durability, at least where the films are concerned, at building level plus, with normal Jason surviving a building explosion before, adding consistency and putting Michael at the very least from building level plus to potentially city block level through upscaling if you take the fact that he would allegedly kick their asses easily. You could also get Michael far higher via scaling to at least Dreamworld Freddy, who should be considered universal as he's able to manipulate the entirety of the dream world. At the very least, Dreamworld Freddy should be planetary, as he can make a bomb that is implied to be able to destroy the Earth in Freddy's nightmares. The highest you can get Freddy is through New Nightmares Freddy seemingly scaling above the fictional version of Freddy, and scaling above cosmological structures like the dream world and the fictional real world. This could hilariously get Michael to fifth-dimensional levels of power. Does this really make sense? No, not really, but it is seemingly what John Carpenter says original Michael can do. So there you have it, folks. Original Michael may actually be a powerhouse worthy of fighting Jason and Freddy and even being able to defeat them. Though how high his scaling would actually be when in comparison to them is dubious. Modern Michael, however, from Carpenter's and Akkad's point of view, is a street-level guy who is pretty much fodder. He, unlike the original, is meant to be quote-unquote real, even though how real the Halloween films is very, very up for debate. He is meant to be a real human threat. And given that is what Death Battle will be working with, it is likely Myers will not stand a chance in this death battle. But hey, who knows, maybe they will use the Carpenter's version. With all that said, stay frosty, you fucks, and like and subscribe while you're still here.